Welcome back to the Oakland Baseball Notebook. My name is Neal, Ruhl, broadcast voice of the Golden Grizzlies, talking baseball. So, of course, we go right to the top. Head coach Jordon Banfield joining us. The Oakland baseball schedule, Jordon, is out as you take a look at it. Some familiar names, obviously, to college baseball fans out there. Just talk about the construction of it, how it came to be, how it worked.
Yeah. When we look at putting together the schedule, a couple things are important. Obviously, want to play the type of competition that we need to get ready for our league season and to prepare our players for that. Also like to take our guys different places. Honestly, that's a huge part of it. Last year going to California, New Mexico. This year going to go to Texas, Kansas. Actually going to end up being in Texas twice. A little bit of a change there. And then with the midweeks, just trying to play all the semi-local big names.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're a games guy. You want to get games in there too, as many as you can get in there. You look at it too, Wichita State. Again, some of the more traditional college baseball names.
Yeah. Wichita State, University of Kansas,
right.
Lamar, maybe not as big of a national name, but that's a 35-win team in the Southland in Texas last year. They're going to be as good as anybody on the schedule. So it's going to be a good test for us, and our guys are going to get to go some places that we know we're going to have good weather, play on turf fields, and get our work in.
That's a great segue. They call that a segue in the broadcast business. Great segue to about the turf fields. Obviously, people that have been driving around campus, they see what's going on with the baseball field here at Oakland. When you make these schedules now, Jordon, it's going to hit a little different in that that we're going to be able to play most of these games now when you set that schedule up. How is that coming along, and just how big is that? Because as a guy that's been here for a while, I know how big it is.
I mean, outside of people, getting coaches, signing recruits, that's the biggest thing that's happened since I've been here is getting the field done, being able to raise the money. We're able to raise like $500,000 to be able to make that happen, and it's just going to be huge. We'd kind of gotten past the canceling games thing just with some of the stuff they had done and the work that my staff puts in
right.
to get there and get ready. But the amount of time it's going to save our staff from having to work on the field every time something
right.
happens to get it ready is going to be huge. They're out there at 7 a.m. when they should be working on the scouting report,
right.
getting the field ready. On top of that, huge for our players to be able to get work in all the time, and just huge for the program and the perception of the program to show that we're continuing to take steps, right? I mean, it is what it is. We had one of the worst fields in the country in Division I. It just is what it is, and now we'll not even be anywhere close to that. We'll be able to have a real Division I field, a real Division I surface, and just excited about sort of the continued growth of the program that's going to show, and we'll be excited to be out there on it in March.
And speaking of growth, obviously a new season, maybe some new names to look out for, some new players. Who should we be watching for this season?
Yeah, well, not necessarily new, but I mean you look at We lost some pieces that were really high-end guys for us. I mean, I'll forget someone, but you go look at Brad Goulet, Brenton Phillips, Quentin Cuyawa, a bunch of others, Steigels, Cam, but we feel like we're replacing those guys with 10 other options that we feel good about. I think the biggest thing that we see as a coaching staff, and you guys will see with the lineups, is we feel good about 15 position players,
right,
and 12 pitchers. It's a long list of guys that we feel good about writing in the lineup, and that's exciting. Not a new name, but excited to have Bryce Conser back, who's our Friday starter, who we got 3 starts out of last year before he blew out. On track to be at full strength, for opening weekend. There's a bunch, man. There's a bunch. And then we've also got some guys that have been here that contributed as freshmen, and Drew Collins, Reagan Paulina, that were both out for the year last year with injuries, that are back at full strength. Definitely slated to play sizable roles. Just excited about a number of pieces. Then you talk about new guys. Lucas Luz, Ryan Dykstra, positionally, some transfers coming in that we like. Reggie Bussey is a freshman that stood out, that will be probably the fastest player in the league, if not first, right there. Then on the mound, you talk about adding guys like Sean Fiquette, proven junior college winners, pitcher of the year in California. at Ohlone. Just really excited about the depth that we're going to be able to have and the number of options as a staff that we're going to be able to rely on. I think early in the year what that's going to lead to is us playing a lot of guys, maybe for reasons that aren't very obvious, just because we need to sort through that a little bit. You know, I don't think you can go a full year playing 15, 16 position players, but you know, excited to see how that shakes out.
When I hear a coach say depth, I always think of that as versatility. That's what that means to me, because there are different ways that you can attack. You talk about adding some speed as well. You guys can play it any way you want to play it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a style that we like to play, especially in some of the weather, is we want to be able to score runs a number of ways, right? Like, doesn't mean I don't like home runs. I love home runs, but there's days when you can't hit them. And
right.
We need to be able to find a way to produce runs. And I think just the other thing that's going to be so different for us this year is we're really left-handed on offense, and we've not had that at all. I mean, I got here, I think there's like one left-handed
right.
hitter. We could run out 7 or 8 in one lineup if we wanted to, and it's going to just give us a lot of options. You talk about versatility. We have positional versatility, guys that can play all over the place. You talk about Gabe Luck's our captain, right? Like he's probably going to play first again, this year, but he'd never played first until the last, month and a half of last season. He's brought in as like a second baseman, not a perfect fit there, can do it, played some left, played some third, and then, found a spot. But in a pinch, he could go back and do any of those things. Jared Miller, has played like 7 spots on the field
right.
for us, so excited about a lot of that and the options that we have, and the offensive players we're going to be able to put out there while not losing anything on defense. And that's something that we've really, really, I don't want to say fought, but battled with was, where can we play the guys we want to play on offense? Because, we get 4 left fielders and 3 first basemen and 6 DHs. It's a little easier when you got a bunch of middle guys that can also
right.
play the other spots.
Absolutely. And then lastly, Jordon, I know in the back of a lot of fans' minds, you look at the heights that this program went to last season, and it was rarefied air. We haven't seen that before, with you guys ultimately playing in the Horizon League championship game. Knowing you, I mean, I know how you run pretty hot, so I know what you're thinking all the time. Yeah, just a little. But knowing you, I would imagine this is on your mind to some degree. Like you want to validate, right? Like you want to come out and say that wasn't like a flash in the pan where everything went right. This is the standard now. Yeah. This is where you want to be. You want to go further than this even. But this is what you expect.
Yeah, I think that validation for me more was last year, because when you haven't shown any of the results, you need to start to show some, because it validates what you're doing, and it makes everybody, players are bought in, but when they see the actual results, it becomes easier to stay bought in even when something doesn't go perfect, right? For me, I would talk about, do I feel pressure? I feel pressure every day, but most of that's self-applied, I think.
Right.
And but the pressure I feel is to keep getting better. Like, let's go take the next step, whatever that is. If it's just increasing the win total, it's at some point it's winning the league and getting to the regional. Like, that's the pressure I feel. Like, I don't have any concern about being a fluke or a flash in the pan. I think what we're doing is right, and it's going to continue to be that way. Now, it gets harder and harder to produce better results the better you get, right? Like that tangible, growth is a lot harder. We could be quite a bit better and win one more game this year,
sure.
Especially with some of the scheduling that we have this year. We're out in the Big 12 and doing a bunch of stuff like that. Like, it gets harder to get better. Going from 20 wins to 31 wins definitely wasn't easy, but it's a lot easier. Going from, you're going to go win 10 more this year, we're going to win 40. Probably not, right? But we just need to keep getting better, and eventually that'll produce the end game result that we want.
Absolutely. Jordon, appreciate the time as always. As things get ready to roll, we'll check back in with you and see how things are going. But as always, thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good to see you.